Hello everyone. I hope at first you have heard the whole explanation about kidney dialysis and kidney transplants, which was our lesson 3. So now we are moving to the next page. Here we are going to discuss about other excretory mechanisms in animals and plants as lesson 4. So now we are going to see different mechanisms animals use to discharge their metabolic waste products as well as plants. So that is what we are going to share, and that is what we are going to discuss in our lesson 4. So let us move to the next slide, and again we analyze how different organisms use different mechanisms to discharge their nitrogenous waste product or metabolic waste product. So, ammonia is a nitrogenous waste product, but carbon dioxide is a metabolic waste product. But all in all, ammonia and carbon dioxide, they fuse out of protozoa and the coenterics. I hope still you know the amoeba and again the coenterics. So all these two organisms, they tend to use the whole surface body to discharge ammonia, basically ammonia as well as carbon dioxide out of their body. Again, remember, as we are talking about protozoa and coenterics, we have also to look at their ecological environment. These are fresh aquatic animals, so that's why they say freshwater protozoans are hypertonic to their environment. So you understand? Now we are comparing the environment, so which means they are hypertonic to their environment and have specialized osmoregulatory organelles called contractile virtues. So now, if inside their body basically the environment is very hypertonic compared to the environment, guess what is going to happen? That's why they say which expel water which has entered by osmosis. So in brief, if now outside their environment there's too much water and you have had the internal, like the inside environment of protozoans is very hypertonic, so that one can trigger water molecules to enter by osmosis. But still how the protozoans and the coenterics regulate the amount of water that has been entered in their body. They use these specialized osmoregulatory organelles called contractile virtues. Good example. Now here they are telling us in amoeba, the contractile virtue can appear anywhere in the cytoplasm, but in paramecium there are two virtues. We have heard now the difference, which have fixed position. So in amoeba, the contractile virtues are found everywhere inside the cytoplasm, and you have heard that it is contractile virtues that regulate the amount of water entering inside the body of amoeba. So for paramecium, they have two virtues which have a fixed position, but they are not distributed everywhere inside the cytoplasm like amoeba. Now we have another group of organisms, platyhelminths, where we have the tapeworm, where we have basically the Planaria worm. So these organisms, here I don't want to read everything because you can go through this slide, but what I want to explain for you here is just the structures they use to discharge their waste product. So most of platyhelminths, they use frame cells to discharge ammonia. Basically, they also discharge the ammonia. That is what they do. And more to that, again, as they possess a ciliars, so the ciliars, they can also help to propel the food along the tubules to their external environment. So that is for the case of platyhelminths. Now we have another group of animals, annelids. Annelids, basically their excretory osmoregulatory mechanism is the nephridia. Please, you have to pay much attention. We are talking about the annelids, but again, which excretory osmoregulatory mechanism do they use to discharge ammonia? They use nephridia. That is what you have to note about annelids. Again, you have so many structures like anephrostoma, they have anephrydiopoa, and again, there is this mechanism of ultrafiltration, selective reabsorption, and secretion. So they also reflect all these stages as they try to discharge their waste product. So now let us move to terrestrial arthropods. You know, in arthropods, that's where we have most categories of insects. So now, what do arthropods use as their specialized excretory organ? They use Malpighian tubules. You have to pay much attention here. And again, what do most terrestrial arthropods discharge in their environment? They discharge uric acid, which is basically insoluble in water. And this is an adaptation. Okay, so you have heard they discharge uric acid, and remember, uric acid is always higher concentrated. So, being insoluble in water, it is adaptation for insects to conserve as much water as possible. Again, there is this kind of hemolymph, and again you remember the hemolymph in the circulatory system, which is there. So many aquatic crustaceans, they also discharge ammonia through organs. So they have different organs which help them to discharge this metabolic waste product. So please, here you have to note the organism. You have also to note the specialized excretory organ, like each organism used to discharge the metabolic waste product. Now, here we are moving to mammals. You know, mammals, for us, we use the kidney, and at some point we discharge urea. But again, as we consider fish, still in fish, the volume and the concentration of urine depends upon the osmotic pressure of the environment. Again, you have to pay much attention here. So that's why freshwater tails, this is a kind of fish, exclude large volume of dilute urine. Okay, dilute urine. But now marine tails, because the environment are different, some they live in fresh water, others they live in marine. So the one which live in fresh, they discharge dilute urine. So now those which are found in marine, they discharge isotonic urine. So which means there is a balance there. Now here comes elastom blanche, increase their internal osmotic pressure so that it is isotonic with seawater by obtaining urea in their tissue. So this is an adaptation to elastom blanche. But again, we are coming to amphibia. Class amphibia, you know amphibians. So basically this is the class. amphibians, they excrete urea, but reptiles and birds, they also discharge uric acid. So most of reptiles and birds, they also have the same adaptations like desert animals. So why do they discharge uric acid? Just to conserve as much water as possible in their environment. Again, you know, reptiles and birds, they have what we call a cryogenic age. So during development, uric acid is stored within a sac-like structure called allantois. Why? Remember, during embryonic development, so this cryogenic tends to store uric acid so that now it can help the embryo to obtain water. Okay, so that is it all. Again, now moving to plants. How do plants discharge the waste products? You know, plants, they do synthesize different organic compounds or requirements according to demand, but there is never an excess of nitrogenous substance that require immediate secretion. So what are the waste products here? We have oxygen, we have carbon dioxide, and again water, produced as waste metabolic substances, but again they have to be reused in other metabolic processes. Good example, you know, excess oxygen is always produced during the process of photosynthesis, but again it has to be used during cellular respiration. So that is the advantage of it. Excess salts and organic acids, for example, oxalates and pectates are stored as harmless. So these two, they are also regarded as the waste products, but now you have had the adaptation behind. They have to be stored as harmless insoluble product, and you have some other waste product acids like tannic, nicotinic acid. So once all these they are stored as harmless, now as time progresses they have to accumulate in the leaves, and when like the leaves start shedding during leaf abscission, they go with all these waste products now we are talking about. But you have had oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water, they have to be reused in other metabolic processes. Now, the last slide is now how different plants also reflect the problem of osmoregulatory problem than animals. Like fresh aquatic plants, we call them hydrophytes, plants which live in aquatic environment. Okay, one way how these plants take in water, it is by osmosis until their target pressure prevents further water uptake. That's for the case of hydrophytes. We have other plants inhabiting areas of high salinities. We call them the halophytes. But still, they also possess different adaptations. Their roots are able to tolerate high salinities. Other species, they have extensive root system to store water when it is freely available. Other species can regulate their salt content by excreting salts, okay, from glands. Understand that one again. So now we have mesophytes, plants which occupy habitats with adequate water supply. Understand this point is very nice. The adequate water supply. Their major problem being exposed to air is water loss, especially during transpiration. But still, they have also developed different adaptation, the presence of cuticle, protected stomata, variable leaf shape, and abscission. All these adaptations are the ones which help the mesophytes to survive within adequate water supply. Now, in conclusion, the last category here is the xerophytes. Xerophytes, these are plants which can survive longer periods of drought. So indeed you have heard these are desert plants, but still they can survive longer periods of drought. Some species survive in the seed, it is possible, or spore stage. Some they can survive in the seed, others they can survive in the spore stage and they germinate or grow flowers and seeds in a short time following the rainfall. It is possible because they have a nice persistent. In other species, transpiration rate is reduced because of different structural adaptations. These desert plants reflect. You know, most of desert plants, they have the following adaptations. There is wax cuticle. They tend to possess few and sunken stomata, a surface of fine hairs. Then there's what we call colored leaves. So all these adaptations are the ones which help the desert plants to survive. A number of species store water in succulent stem and leaves, whereas others have either deep root system, which basically extend and reach the water table, or shallow roots, which can absorb the surface moisture. So pay much attention about this. There is a question always about homeostasis in plants. So this goes with different basically environment and how these plants basically survive. So that's why you have to pay much attention about all this. Okay.